Welcome to FBB Forum. If you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe and tell your peeps about the podcast. I'm very pleased to welcome the stunning IFBB Pro women's bodybuilding competitor, Melissa Teich, to the podcast. This is Melissa's first year in women's bodybuilding division and previously competed in Physique as a two-time Olympian. Melissa also competed in two shows this year, Chicago Pro, where she placed third, and the Rising Phoenix, where she placed sixth. Stay tuned to find out about Melissa's future plans. And this is actually a follow-up interview. I interviewed with her earlier this year. So this is just a quick follow-up to see what she's up to now. But welcome, Melissa. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, where do you hope to compete next, and what are your plans for next year?
So currently the plan is to take probably about a 6-month off season so I can give my body a break and try to grow a little bit because I just need overall size, in my opinion.
Sure.
I would like obviously we don't know what shows are even on the roster for next year, but I am crossing my fingers and praying that the Texas Pro will have added women's bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I did reach out to Freddie this year, asking him if he could do that, knowing that it probably wasn't going to happen this year, but he said he did give me some hope. He said there are some things in the works. So I'm praying that they will add women's bodybuilding to the Texas Pro this year. If that does happen, then I will absolutely be doing that. Right. Aside from that, if that doesn't pan out, I don't really know what show I'm going to do. I would like to do the Rising Phoenix again, so I will put in a letter of intent and hopefully get selected again. And those are my only two real plans as far as bodybuilding. I do have plans to powerlift again in 2024. I think I'm going to do a meet in January. I haven't fully 100% committed to that yet. I need to know the details first, but
Sure.
That's so in my back pocket. So maybe a powerlifting meet January, compete maybe August-ish, and then September again. We'll go from there.
That's terrific. That sounds good. You competed at Texas before, didn't you?
Yeah, I did women's physique last year. That was where I won the Sarah Villegas Award.
Yeah.
Women's Physique Distinction Award. So it was a great show, not only just because I won, but I just really enjoyed the time there, and it was a great venue. So I'd like to do it again, not just in women's bodybuilding.
Sure, that's great. Yeah, I really like the fact that show has that extra prize money for the women's physique competitors. It's really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brings a whole other level of competition to the show because, of course, everybody wants to do it. So
we were just talking too. Unfortunately, you were one spot out of the money spot and 1 point out right from the Rising Phoenix. I'm so sorry though. That stinks though.
I was like, I didn't even know that obviously until the scorecards were posted. And Michaela actually sent me a message like immediately and was like, "You missed 5th place by 1 point." And I was like, "Oh my God, gotta be freaking kidding me." And I pulled it up, and sure enough, I'm like, "Oh my God, are you serious?" So
oh man, yeah, I bet that was kind
of that was kind of like a stab to the heart, but
oh man. Well, I wonder too if it's your
lost by 1 point.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, I understand. But I wonder, just being your first year women's bodybuilding, if judges making you pay your dues or whatever too.
I mean, who knows? Sandy was a head judge, and I saw her briefly in the hallway after prejudging, and I just like jokingly said, like, she was surprised to see me at check-ins. First of all, she knew, I think she knew that I had moved up to women's bodybuilding, but she hadn't seen me since.
Oh,
so
yeah.
She was, "You made the switch." I'm like, "Yeah." When I saw her after prejudging, I'm like, "Did I do good?" She's like, "Well, you were in the first call out, so obviously."
You did look great at that show too, and I had you placing higher as well. So you and Sherry I mentioned. So yeah, it's just hard to tell with the judges sometimes in the judging panels, I think.
I mean, I have like three best looks in the last 3 years, and this was one of them. So
yeah, Yeah, you did. You looked amazing. I thought you improved from Chicago too. It seemed
Oh
like,
yeah, Chicago is not, that was just a mess.
oh no. Yeah,
We did correctly. We were, I mean, we thought we were ready. We get there, and I was like, this is not gonna pan out like we hoped. But we were already there, so it's like it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
that's cool. Yeah, you still look great, but yeah, I thought you looked better at Phoenix.
Yeah.
Now I was curious that were you kind of bummed out by not qualifying for the Olympia this year? Because I thought you looked really amazing, but there was all this tough competition at the shows too, you know.
Yeah. After Chicago, I was like, well, you know, the chances of winning the Rising Phoenix are obviously very, very slim considering all the Miss Olympias and runner-up Olympias and top
Mhm.
girls in the world are there. So I knew after Chicago, I was like, I'm not going to the Olympia this year. So I was a little sad about that because I'm like, I've been there the last 2 years, and it's one of those things where you just like you feel like you should be there, but
Sure. Would
uh,
I was curious, will you come as a spectator possibly?
because it's in Florida, no.
No.
If it was
Oh, okay.
if it was in Vegas, we'd make the drive, but we're not gonna fly all the way out to Florida. Plus, I mean, the biggest reason actually is because Rafe is competing. What is it, 2 weeks after that
Oh, I see. Yeah.
out, and I don't want to ruin his peak or have him be all stressed out just from traveling and
Sure.
having to take all our food with us. And it's a lot of stress on the body, a lot of stress on the mind, physical stress, everything. So I'd rather not even, if I'm not competing, I'd rather us just be at home, let him relax, and then we'll drive out to California in the middle of November for his show,
Terrific. Yeah. Which show is he doing?
the Masters USA's.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, I'll have to root for him for sure. He looks really good.
Yeah, he's 6 weeks out right now, so everything's coming together as it should. Is He's looking good, so
That's terrific. So he's going for his
for the card.
pro card. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hope he gets it. That'd be awesome.
Me too.
Yeah. Now, I was curious, like, what was your first year in women's bodybuilding like? Because I think it seems like you really kind of grew into the division and you put on some good size. But was there anything that surprised you about transitioning to that division?
Um, I think the only surprise is the peak. So we learned in Chicago that, well, number one, I wasn't lean enough yet. But number two, it takes a lot of food and a lot of time to fill me up. So for
Mm.
Phoenix, we started filling out probably a week and a half out of the show.
Wow.
I also learned that my body does a lot better with just my regular clean meals, just obviously higher quantities, not adding any free meals, cheat meals, any of that garbage. Um, I've always done that in the past, had, free meals when I'm super lean. And this time around for Phoenix, we didn't do that at all. I just stayed on my plan. We just increased carb amounts in the last couple weeks leading up, and my body responded so much better.
Mm.
So
That's
as far,
terrific.
yeah, it literally took a week and a half to fill me all the way up. And we
Wow.
didn't run any no carb days going into Phoenix, but we did a ton of no carb days going into Chicago. So
Mm.
the the approach was different. Um, but now we know. When I was doing physique, it was always, keeping food super, super low, keeping cardio high, food
Mm.
low, because I was trying to keep my body smaller. But that's why my look was always off every time I got on stage. It was like
Mm.
I was not full, and yeah. So
Hmm.
now we do.
That's good that you kind of know now how to prepare for the division too. You're better prepared and
Right.
that is a good thing. Like I mentioned, I think with Cherry too, I think that she had kind of same situation last year where she kind of had to kind of grow into the division and
Hmm.
but also figure out even the posing and stuff is different. So it just takes a while to figure that out.
Yeah. And that was also in Chicago. I was a little uncomfortable on stage just because it was my first time hitting all those poses on stage.
Yeah.
So I felt more confident in my posing in Phoenix. So
Yeah, I noticed
That
that too. It's evident on stage, I think, too. Yeah. That's really cool. I was curious, would you consider competing again in women's physique? I was thinking that train has passed because your WBB is kind of your jam now, and you're grown into it. So
I'm a lot more comfortable in women's bodybuilding, so I don't think WPD is in my future unless I plan on changing my training style and starving myself again, which I have no intentions to do. So thank you. I'd rather just keep big. I like to be big. I don't like to be small. I like to live.
yeah,
I like to lift heavy. I like to eat. So I think I've found my spot.
that's terrific. No, I think the fans will like that too. So that's very cool. No, that's terrific. Now, I was curious, what kind of changes did you make for your training and to prepare for women's bodybuilding division?
Honestly, no changes to my training. My training's been exactly the same as I've done for many years now.
Okay.
Um, Biggest thing was just the food. Just, I mean, well, that the food and my schedule. So I don't work night shift anymore. So
Yeah.
I go to sleep at the same time every night. I get up at the same time every morning, do my cardio at the same time every morning. I train at roughly the same, like give or take an hour, but I train about the same time every day, eat my meals on the same schedule every day. And so everything's very regimented. I mean, I've always been a very regimented person, but it's very much more calculated, I guess you could say now.
Sure. Yeah, you were working nights as a jail nurse. Is that right?
I worked nights from when I was 18 years old till I was 34, 33 or
Wow.
so. A long time.
I always thought that was tough because you have to work nights and then sleep during the day but then if you're gonna like socialize with the rest of the world, you have to have some days where you flip it and you're sleeping at night and active during the day. So it just seems like it'd be really tough on the body to do that.
It is. It was it was a disaster, but I didn't even realize how much of a disaster it was until I stopped doing it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was just like, I feel like crap. I thought this was just part of it, and then
Hmm.
these were probably the not to say prep is easy, but these preps were a lot easier being
Hmm.
on a normal schedule. Because I was trying when I was working nights, I was trying to spread out my 6 meals over 12 or over 24 hours instead of 16 hours,
Hmm.
plus get my cardio in, get my training in, somehow sleep in between my shifts. So
Wow.
yeah,
That must
that
have been
was
tough.
it was. But I at the time I didn't even realize how tough it was. Now I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I did that. I really don't know, but
Yeah.
somehow.
It maybe it made you stronger as a person too, because that's just like a really tough schedule too.
Yeah. Now if I don't get 8 or 9 hours of sleep at night, like I feel like crap. And
Really?
I used to function on 3 or 4 hours when I would sleep during the day. I
Oh,
just, I'd nap from noon to 3 and then get up, do my cardio, go train and go back to work and then repeat that cycle again the next day. So
wow. Yeah, that's tough. That's really impressive that you did that. And I think but it's good for you in the long run, I think, to go back to a regular schedule.
yeah, like I'm getting too old to be working nights anymore.
Oh, I understand. Yeah. No, and that's not much fun. Um, and now, so you're full time. I think you still pick up some shifts at the jail, but you're pretty much full time at Be Strong Powerhouse now.
Yeah, I don't work at the jail anymore, but I do still work a PRN nursing job at a surgery center.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. How often do you have to work down there?
So this month I work a little bit more just because I opened up my availability to them since I'm not competing for the rest
Yeah,
of the year.
sure.
But when I when I was in prep, I was only working like once or twice a month.
Okay. Yeah,
But this month I think I have like 1 or 2 shifts a week, which is fine. I mean, I don't have anything else going on really. So
sure. How is it going at the gym now at Be Strong Powerhouse? Are you kind of like past the COVID kind of um people staying away because of COVID and stuff, or pretty
oh
much
yeah,
back to
that's
normal?
that's like a thing of the past now. Nobody even really talks about it much, but
Hmm.
um, gym's been doing good. I mean, we're pretty busy. I think September was probably our slowest month. So we have a lot of military at our gym, so they're getting all their new assignments or wherever they have to move to. So we've lost some of them, but at the same time, every time we lose, we gain another group. So
Right.
comes in waves, but everything's going well. We're staying busy. Everybody's super happy with our facility, and we've got good staff now. So we're just growing and trying to keep up with all of it.
Great. You still have the 2 locations?
Uh-huh.
I do. In Tucson area, right?
Correct.
Oh, very cool. That's great. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that it's going well for you guys.
Yeah. So if anybody watching this ever travels to the Tucson area, stop by Be Strong Powerhouse. We have 2 locations on 2 totally different sides of town. So one's easily accessible right off the freeway, and the other one's kind of tucked further back into the east side of town. But any IFBB pros, we welcome with open arms. They don't need to pay a day pass. They can just come in, train. Everybody else, day passes are $15. So
Oh, that's
come,
not bad.
you're in the area.
Very cool. That's great. Yeah, and since you're in Tucson, yeah, Las Vegas would be more convenient for Olympia for you for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because next year it'll be back in Vegas from what I've heard. So I'm hoping to score my O ticket when it's back in Vegas.
Yeah, I understand. As a fan, who lives in Tampa, it's good for me to have it back in Orlando. I like that.
I don't do well with the flying traveling. I
Yeah.
like to, I like to go places where I can just drive, so I can just load up my truck with everything that I need, bring everything I want with me. Don't have to worry about stuffing it all in a suitcase and, you know, living out of a 6-pack bag of food and praying that it doesn't go bad. Like,
Yeah.
I just like bring all my appliances with me and have the ability to cook if I need to and things like that. So I like to travel where I can drive.
Oh, I totally understand that. I heard from a competitor that they got stopped by TSA for protein powder and maybe it was like tested for cocaine or meth or something.
Yeah, it was Andrea.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
They took it all from her, and I was like, they've never taken my protein powder. They took my peanut butter because it had like a tiny bit of oil on the top of
Oh.
and that was too much liquid. So he made me throw away the whole thing. I was so sad.
Oh no, that's
He's
ridiculous.
like, "Well, you can go eat it." And I'm like, "Sir, it's like the whole jar." And I was like, that was on the way to Chicago. So I was like, and I'm also like competing in a week. So definitely can't eat the whole jar, but thank you.
That's crazy. Yeah, I know it is challenging, I think, with flying like that. And yeah, being able to drive makes a big difference for sure.
And
Yeah.
they're inconsistent because I flew back home from Chicago and I had a new peanut butter and I brought it and they let it go through and they had no issue. So
Oh, oh
must be
no.
the Tucson thing. Tucson's more strict, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. I heard from a few competitors who went to Romania for the Masters O and they lost their luggage. And that I can't imagine anything worse for a bodybuilder because you got
Yeah.
everything you need in your luggage, so.
Yeah. I always, when I fly, I always bring my suits and all my stage stuff in my carry-on just in case. So if that does happen, I'm not totally out.
That's a good idea.
But
Yeah.
still, I mean, I still need everything else. But yeah, ugh, that sounds terrible. I'm glad, knock on wood, that never happened to me.
Oh no, that would be a mess. Yeah, a mess. I can't imagine that. So, now you're still coaching clients too, aren't you?
Correct.
I was curious if there's any coaching clients that you'd like to highlight while we're on the call.
I would actually. I have one of my clients is doing her first show this weekend coming up. Her name's Megan Brisco. She'll be competing in figure and crossing over into women's physique
Great.
uh, at a show in Utah. I want to say it's called like the Utah Classic, maybe.
Okay.
So this is her first time, but she's put her whole heart and soul into it, and she's a great client. She updates on time. She follows the plan. She does exactly what I tell her to do. And I just can't wait to watch her get up there and do her thing for the first time. So,
That's terrific.
oh man,
Very cool. I just wrote her name down and I'll highlight her too if she has Instagram and stuff as
she
well.
does. She does.
That's great. Any other clients?
I don't have anybody else competing in the near future. I got a couple girls that are gonna get on stage for the first time next year, but
Great. That's terrific. That's very cool. I bet you it's just kind of like proud moment, I'm sure, to see your clients up on stage like that. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think there's a live feed, so I'm kind of sad about that. But I told her I'll tell her to tell her husband to send me lots of videos.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, film from the audience, maybe.
I mean, she built her own routine for the physique posing around or the physique finals routine. So,
Really?
and it's yeah, and it's pretty good for friggin' first timer.
Wow,
So
really? That's great.
I like to watch her perform it. So
Does she have a dance background at all?
I don't think so.
No.
Not that I'm aware of, or not that I recall for her telling me. But
That's really cool. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely highlight her for sure. We're going to highlight Rafe and Be Strong Powerhouse too down in the comments as well. So I'll make sure to include the Instagram
thank
for those too. Oh yeah, no problem. Um, Now I was curious, now that you've switched to women's bodybuilding division, are you getting more attention from fans like on social media and more DMs and that kind of thing?
um I am getting a lot of support for the transition. I wouldn't say it hasn't like skyrocketed or anything, but a lot of people are very glad that I did change divisions and that I will continue to grow instead of trying to hold myself back. So
That's great.
everybody is more happy with that, with me moving up than trying to stay in women's physique. And I mean, I was just placing worse and worse and worse. So I didn't really have much of a choice.
Sure. Yeah.
But I feel like I'm where I should be now.
As a fan, I was really pleased when you moved up, and I think it was a good move for you. I think you've really been looking good too. So you're doing something right for sure.
I
Now,
like food. I like to train.
yeah, the food part is kind of nice, isn't it? Yeah, it'd be nice to get the extra food.
Yeah.
I've heard, and maybe this is true with Rafe, the men bodybuilders and men powerlifters complain that they have to eat so much that they almost get tired of eating. And I don't know, do you ever feel that way too, or is it like just too much food?
I don't, um I don't really well when I'm in prep, I don't have that problem at all. I could take a shovel and eat my meal in like 2 seconds. Rafe, this is gonna be really disgusting for most people to understand, but he doesn't like oh, I shouldn't say he doesn't like he doesn't have the time to sit down and eat 7 meals a day
Yeah.
on the go. So he blends a lot of his food. He'll put it, we have a Vitamix blender, and I think 5 of his 7 meals are fish. So he'll put the fish in the blender and
Oh.
blend water and drink it.
Oh.
But he does that five times a day. Um, and he'll eat the carbs, which is rice or cream of rice or whatever, because it's such a small portion. It's like 3 spoonfuls, but
Okay.
he drinks the fish part of it because it's 11 ounces, I think, is what he
Oh,
does. Yeah, it's pretty
wow.
gross.
There was a
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live skit years ago, like in the late '70s, with putting the whole bass in the blender, and it was called the Bassomatic, and it kind of sounds like that.
Yeah. When we went to Phoenix, literally we filled an entire ice chest full of shaker bottles that were just full of blended fish. He blended it
Oh,
all left and just we had like 18 shaker cups just full of fish. It was disgusting, but
oh, that just sounds bad.
I
Yeah,
would get done, whatever works.
yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh, yeah, it doesn't sound appetizing though at all.
Definitely gag and throw up.
Oh man, that's yeah, ay, ay, ay. Um, I just had, we already covered the work hours situation. So I just have one more question for you. AJ from the Female Bodybuilding channel, he says that we have kind of entered the beautiful era of women's bodybuilding. And I think with just like beautiful women like you and Sherry competing, I have to agree. I was just curious, what is your take about, beauty and bodybuilding and what's going on right now and with the sport?
I agree with that. I think there are a lot of very feminine looking female bodybuilders out there now.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it should be. I mean, I've told my husband myself, I'm like, I don't want to look like a man.
Hmm.
I, I don't want to take anything I want to stay on the things that I've taken thus far that I know are not going to jeopardize completely my femininity. I can't even say the word femininity. Yes, the feminine side of me. Um, I'm obviously not much of a girly girl at all, but I don't want this to look any different.
Sure.
So
I understand. Yeah. And I think you do look really pretty on stage, and your
I
makeup
want to
tan is
in that.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
I want my skin to stay the way it is too, because there's a lot of bad skin out there that's just from doing things that don't need to be done. If you just do the work, you don't have to take obscene amounts of stuff. So
Sure. I understand.
I'm more than happy to do all of the work plus more to maintain this because bodybuilding isn't forever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I can't remember if I'd asked you earlier than an earlier interview too, if you plan to have kids, because I think a lot of people end up having to take a break, and to have kids, take a break
Mhm.
from bodybuilding for the physical. But did y'all want to have kids?
I don't. I don't really want kids. I'll be honest.
Sure.
Rafe has 3 kids from a previous marriage, so
Okay.
he's set as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Around the idea of adopting a child, but we'll revisit that when we're done bodybuilding because right now we don't even have time for any of that.
Oh
That
yeah.
I wouldn't be. I would have to put everything on hold if we did that because obviously that is all consuming as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's true.
so right now, no plans for. I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not birthing any children.
Okay.
So
Very cool.
far as adoption, we'll revisit that some years down the road.
Okay. Very cool. That's great. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything that I didn't mention that you'd like to mention here?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on back on the podcast again. And I'll make sure to post this probably later today. And as I mentioned, I'll tag you on Instagram and Megan and Rafe and Be Strong Powerhouse too.
Awesome.
But it was really great speaking with you, and best of luck for next year. And I'll be keeping up with you on IG for sure.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.